guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to sit down with you guys and do a really personal video. This is a video that I had to really sit down and talk with my husband about to make sure he was comfortable with me sharing this part of our life with you guys. As most of you know, I have 3 children already. My oldest is going to be 6 in February. My middle, who is a boy, he turned 4 in August, and our youngest, who is a girl, she turned 1 in August as well. So we are quickly approaching my kids going to be 6, 4.5, and 1.5. After we had our youngest, and throughout like my whole pregnancy with her, I was really dead set on that was going to be our last baby. I didn't think that I would ever really be emotionally ready for having 4 kids. When you're pregnant, you have so much love for your baby that you don't even know what to do with yourself. And then you have your baby and there's all this joy and you can't imagine your life without that baby, and you don't know how it's physically possible for you to love someone that much. When you are pregnant with your second baby, you also love that baby so much. You've been through all these things, you know what to expect, you know you're gonna love that baby so much. But I know I am not alone in saying this, but you cannot fathom how you can love another baby more, or equally how you can share your love with another little baby knowing how much you love your first. It is something I battled with the entire time I was pregnant with baby number 2. I loved him so much already, but in the back of my mind I'm like, but I'm not gonna love him as much as I love my first. She was my first, she is my oldest. Like, I completely gave her my heart the day she was born. But the moment you give birth and you hold that baby in your arms, it completely changed for me. The moment I had him, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what these moms say, that your heart just grows 100 times more every time you have a baby, because I never ever, since the day he was born, have thought like, oh, I love him less, or I don't love him as much. It's a fear you have when you're pregnant, but once that baby is born, it completely goes away. When I was pregnant with baby number 3, I still kind of felt that way a little bit, even though I had experienced it before, but I knew the moment I had her in my arms, it was all going to change. So I knew kind of what to expect when I was pregnant with her. And me and my husband had a lot of talks when I was pregnant and after I was pregnant, and I just kind of said, you know, I love all 3 of my kids so much, but I don't think I could handle a 4th baby. I don't know if I could not so much love that baby, because I've learned it has nothing to do with love, but I don't feel like I could give my attention to 4 kids. And I felt that way for a really, really long time. I thought that 3 was enough, you know, I was so blessed to have 3, that God had given me like 3 little things that I can love so much, but I didn't think I would ever be ready for baby number 4. Over the last few months, me and my husband have been talking, and we've kind of mutually come to the decision to try for baby number 4. It's something we discussed a lot, and he was for it and I wasn't for it. Then I finally started to come around, and then he had changed his mind. It was just something that we had discussed back and forth, and it wasn't even a possibility for us because I nursed and I never got my period until after I stopped nursing our baby. So my first cycle was not even until October of this year. I know a lot of women get pregnant when they are still nursing, and a lot of women have their cycles, but I was not one of those women. With all 3 of my kids, as long as I was nursing, I never had a cycle, so I kind of knew that me getting pregnant when I was nursing was not really a possibility. I know for some it is, but for me personally, I can pay attention to my body, and I knew that I wasn't ovulating. I didn't have any of those symptoms, so it was not something we really started discussing until it was time to start like winding down on nursing. Knowing that I was going to be stopping nursing soon and that I would start my cycle again, it was something we really had to talk about. Do we want to try for another? Do we not want to try for another? Because if we don't want to try for another, it's something that we would have to plan when, you know, we have our intimate time, because you don't want to accidentally find yourself pregnant if you're not trying to. So it's something we had to really discuss as a couple, and it wasn't just a one-time discussion. It was something that we talked about over and over again until we both felt comfortable with our decision. In October, I really started paying attention to my body. I ordered some ovulation tests on Amazon. I will put the links down below of which one it is, because I can honestly not remember the brand of it. But I really started paying attention and just trying to figure out my body. Because I didn't have a cycle for over a year after I had her, and then to add on top you don't have a cycle when you're pregnant, it had been almost 2 years since I had a cycle. From the time of my last cycle to the start of my first one after I stopped nursing, it was 1 month shy of a year. It was 23 months that I went without a cycle. So I really had to start paying attention to my body, and I know that your body just doesn't boom, just you start your cycle and like you start ovulating like normal. It's something that you really have to track because your body is just kind of out of whack. Like I said, I really started paying attention in October. We are in December now, and we have been actively trying for 1 month. During October, I wasn't really charting anything. I was just kind of writing things down, like jotting them down on my app, but I wasn't actively trying. I wasn't looking at dates and I wasn't checking myself. I was just kind of letting it go, just letting my body fall into course. My second cycle that I had was in November, and this is when I really decided to start sitting down and jotting everything down. I mean, any symptom, everything, every time me and my husband were intimate, I wrote everything down. I took so many ovulation tests. I was one of those freaks that was testing like 3 times a day because I wanted to be 100% sure, because this is something new for me. If you guys have been following my journey for a while, I kind of have talked about this a little bit, but it's something I don't really talk about that much. But all 3 of my kids are the biggest blessing I have ever been given, but all 3 were definitely unexpected at that time of my life. I have never actively tried to get pregnant. I have never charted things down. I've never checked my temperatures. I've never taken ovulation tests. It's just something that I've never done, so it's really, really new to me. And I feel like this video is kind of controversial for some because a lot of people look at it like, oh, she already has 3 kids. Why is she TTCing? Or she doesn't need any more kids, or she should already know how to do things, or whatever they have to say. But this is just something that is a new journey for me. I don't know what to expect. The deepest part of my gut feels like this time around, I'm so mentally and physically ready for it that it's just not gonna happen. It's just a fear that I have, and you hear about it all the time. Like, people have, you know, 2 kids, 3 kids, 1 kid, and it was so easy, but then they go to have another one and it takes them months and years, and maybe it's never gonna happen again. So it's something I definitely have to be prepared for, that maybe God only has 3 in store for me. I really pray and I really hope not, because my heart and my mind are set on baby number 4. But if God does not put that in my cards, then I just have to accept it. What I wanted to do was just explain to you what I have been doing the last month. I am in what is known as your 2-week wait, and I have seen so many YouTube videos of people being exactly days past ovulation that I am, and are getting positive pregnancy tests, and I have not had a positive pregnancy test. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So hopefully this video doesn't get too long, because I don't want you guys to get bored with it. This is what my little charting looks like. What I did is, from the apps that I have, and I went online and I used all their little ovulation trackers, and I put in the last 2 months of my cycle history. Now, it's not as accurate as if I have been having my normal cycles for 6 months and have all of those details, but this is just what I have, so it's what I had to go off of. So I had to put in how long my cycles normally last, how many days they are in each round, and then put the start dates. So I did that, and it kind of gave me an estimated date of ovulation. So it ranged from the 28th to the 30th. So that is a 3-day window that it kind of gave me that says like, hey, one of these days you're probably going to ovulate. So what I did is I started ovulating when my app told me like, hey, you could be fertile. And that is like almost a week like length that it has on there. I think it's like a 5 or 6 day window. So what I did is I started tracking on that first day, which was the 23rd. I did not get a positive on my ovulation test until the 29th. So how these ovulation tests work is, if you have a line, that doesn't necessarily mean it's positive. It has to be equal to or darker than the control line. So I don't know if it's going to really pick it up on camera, But as you can see up here, there was no lines, and then when you start getting down to the bottom, you can see that the lines are there. The lines were darker, but this has been sitting here for a couple weeks, so they are starting to fade. So what I did is I wrote down that I ovulated, or I think I ovulated on the 30th of last month, because what it says is that you're gonna get a positive 24 to 48 hours before you ovulate. So I made sure that me and my husband were spending a lot of quality time together leading up to that day and then a couple days after. So we gave ourselves a really good chance of conceiving. I have never been one to really pay attention to my body before I think I'm like pregnant, if that makes any sense. Like, I pay attention to my body when I think I'm going to be starting my period, just because like, oh, I'm feeling this way, oh, it's because I think I'm gonna start my period, that kind of thing. But this month I was really paying attention to like signs that my body was giving me that I was going to be ovulating, if that makes any sense. The day I got that really positive line, that whole day I did actually have a lot of symptoms that I didn't really expect. I was thirsty and I had chapped lips, I had some cramping going on, I was bloated, I had a little bit of discharge, and an increase in my desire to want to spend quality time with my husband. So those are all the things I noticed the day before I was ovulating. The day that I did ovulate, or that I think I did ovulate, I was bloated, I had more cramping, my lips were still chapped, and I was extra hungry that day for some reason. It could just be because I was hungry, it could be because my body was just gearing up for ovulation. I have no idea, but those are the symptoms that I had the day that I think I ovulated. Fast forward to this week. As of today, I am 9 days past ovulation, so I am almost ready to either start my period or not start my period. I have no idea. But today I am day 27 of my cycle. I normally have 30-day cycles, so I am 3/4 days away from starting again. The last couple days I have noticed that I have been cramping a lot, and which is weird. If I am not pregnant, I have noticed that my body has just been extra crampy like this whole entire month. It's so weird. I went from cramping because I was on my period to having like a week and a half, 2 weeks without anything, to cramping my whole time I was ovulating, and I'm still cramping now. So I don't know if that is a sign that I am pregnant or if I'm just thinking crazy thoughts in my head. I have absolutely no idea, but that is just what I have noticed. I started testing at 7 days past ovulation. I know that is super duper early, but I have seen some people get positive tests, like if you Google it on YouTube, but I am not one of those people. If I am pregnant, I am definitely not one of those people. So I tested 7 days past ovulation, 8 days, and 9 days today, and they were all negative. I put my little test in here, and as you can see, there's definitely just one line on them. So as of now, I am not pregnant, or if I am, it's not showing up. But I have had some symptoms this week that I wanted to share with you. Being in this 2-week wait window, it's really tricky because you are really paying attention to your body. So maybe I'm just noticing things that I normally would just brush off, or maybe I'm just overthinking everything and stressing out myself. I have absolutely no idea. This is my first round of TTCing, my first month of my first round, if that makes any sense, because we have never TTC'd before. But this week I did notice some things. Because I have been pregnant before, I have had symptoms like during my pregnancy that I have kind of been feeling lately. I've been a little bit nauseous, but you know what, it might just be that time of the year. My kids have been sick, we have been around a lot of people that have been sick, so maybe I'm just not feeling 100% because of the weather and because of like our environment and who we've been around. So the last couple days I've noticed that when I like get up off the couch or move really fast, I have what feels like round ligament pain. If you guys have been pregnant, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like a stretching or pulling of your muscles, and I have no idea, like no idea if it's because I'm pregnant or if I'm just going crazy in my head. I have absolutely no idea, but that is a symptom I've had, as well as just breaking out right around my chin and just being really, really tired. So like I said, it may be because, you know, it's just that time of year. It may be because I'm just going crazy and it's all in my head, or it may be because I'm pregnant. So I still have a couple more days to go to find out for sure if I am pregnant, if I'm not pregnant. we will see. I will definitely be doing an update regardless of which way it goes, if I am pregnant, if I'm not pregnant, and I'll give like a more detailed list in that video. I just didn't want to really go into it in this one because it is starting to get really long. So I will see y'all in my next video. Bye guys!